The first slide that was on here showed a picture of a guy who kind of looked like Jeeves, but his name is Ambrosio. And I'm told that Ambrosio is Italian for Jeeves. I don't know whether that's true or not, but I trust Mike Robinson, who speaks fluent Italian. And his vision is this idea that someday we'll all have kind of this personal assistant that lives with us as we go throughout our day, as we go from here to there. It becomes kind of your alter ego, if you will. It's kind of scary, actually, the thoughts he has. And you know, you look at it and you think, that's science fiction, it's ridiculous. Personally, I've never been a big fan of science fiction. But lately, the last several years, I've realized that maybe I should have been paying attention, because a lot of this stuff that seems ridiculous is now real. I mean, you know, coming to find these guys today, I was talking to my phone and it was giving me answers. And it understood me better than I understood me. I mean, I don't know how it knew that I'm at Mountain View Center for Performing Arts to pick Alain and Shannon up. But it did, and we got there. Actually, right up there was smooth, about 20 minutes. Coming down, we've already actually had a chance to go through the panel. It's too bad you all couldn't join us in the car, because it was about a 50-minute drive. And I've had the opportunity to talk to them before, to interview them, and they've just opened up new thoughts for me. This all started for me about a year and a half, probably about 2 years ago. You know, I started reading about what Google was doing with the autonomous car, and for some reason it just stuck in my head. You know, what are they up to? What's their end-game plan? And I was going to write an article about it. I had all these, you know, little factoids together. It was just going to be another boring article that maybe my mom would have liked, but everyone else would have thought, okay, it's just a bunch of facts. And then I thought, well, really, this is a story. This is a story, and I just picked the year 2040. That was just a total guess, right? And I imagined what would happen to my kids 25 years from now. And I told the story of their morning of getting to work and how the car picked one of them up and then picked the other one up and picked someone else up and dropped them off at their respective places of work. The character who lived across the street, Regal Rich, I called him. And he was of course in marketing, because he spent all the money, and he worked in the same place as Cheapskate Charlie, who was the controller of the company. But Regal Rich, he just couldn't share a ride with someone else. He had to take his own car, and he had this souped-up car that had he'd get in it, and he could leave like 5 minutes later than Charlie and Tom, but he would get to work at the same time. But in the meantime, he'd get into his car and an espresso would be made and so forth. He was really excited because his garage, he no longer needed it because the car would just pick him up when he needed it. His garage was being converted into a souped-up man cave. And of course, Charlie's back at home thinking how he's going to earn revenue from his garage that he no longer needed. And so I wrote this story and then had the other 5 or 6 pages just kind of on backup information on why this was true. And as I started to write it, I realized, my gosh, this is probably possible. And then what that did, that article led to meeting people like Mike Robinson, who has some really interesting ideas. It meant meeting Alain and Shannon, really bring different perspectives. And they're going to be our drivers for tonight's panel. And I can't say enough things about them. They're both very cool. Alain, he called himself a space cadet, I believe was the term you used, right? Is that the...
Yeah, no, I've been there, done that.
Apollo program, Princeton professor. He can talk about what they're doing with autonomous cars. Pioneer in the GPS space back in the 80s and 90s. And he has, how I met him was through his newsletter he has called Smart Driving Cars. Very insightful and entertaining commentary on what's going on, what's real, what isn't. You'll hear some of that tonight. Shannon, she's an architect, but I like to think of her as the person who wrote the book on the parking garage. She'll say it's the most important structure of the 20th century, and I believe her. So we'll get her insight on that. She's also been co-organizing, and I've got to read this because I can't say it all, but envisioning automated vehicles within the built environment, and that is a mouthful. She can talk about what that means. So with that, why don't we have, and they put together a presentation just for us, and I'm really looking forward to hearing it because it's fresh. So Alain, do you want to take over? Is Alain going first? And then
yes, okay.
Okay, and then we'll cut into questions and answers.